It's great to see everyone's name. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Margaret Ellen Corley, and I'm part of the TWC's Board Service Strategies Department, BSS. I'm really excited today to be part of this OSY webinar presentation. I'm going to begin with a few basic requirements and information about OSY youth. And then I'm really excited to introduce our Texoma and Tarrant County boards, who are going to provide how they run their OSY and youth programs. Since these two boards are very different in size, I'm excited to hear how they implement their programs to provide best practices and strategies. So hopefully there'll be something in here for everyone. So let me stop my video and we will start our presentation. So our agenda today, like I said, I'm going to do a quick OSY overview. Then Tarrant County will provide their presentation and Texoma will then provide theirs. And then we'll have hopefully time for questions and answers. To be a youth participant, I just wanted to remind everyone that there are several steps that need to be entered, and they need to be entered in this order in order for your youth to be a participant. So first off, you need to determine their eligibility, and this information would be added into your WIOA program detail and twist. Second would be your service 8. This would be your objective assessment. This is going to be like your tape test or a skills assessment, but even more important, it's going to be an interview between your case manager and your youth. This is the perfect opportunity to start building a relationship with your youth, letting them know by your questions and their answers that you're there for them, that this is their program and you're going to do the best that you can to help them get through it. So you're going to find out about their barriers, their strengths, the interests that they have in their education and employment. This will help you determine work experiences or training that they may want to get into. Then you're going to have your Service 68, which is the individualized service strategy. A lot of the information in building your ISS will come from that one-on-one assessment with your youth, so that you'll be able to put their barriers in there and maybe community resources that you've provided them to address those barriers, their career planning, what they see as their educational or employment goals, work experiences that you might have in mind for them. And then the last will be providing one of the 14 WIOA youth program elements. I've added in the resource page at the bottom of or at the end of this presentation, the link for the youth services program matrix. This will provide a lot of the program elements and their definitions. It'll give you the services so that you can review before you meet with customers and get really familiar with what those youth elements are and how they can be used. And then I wanted to just remind everyone that the OSY program expenditures, boards must spend a minimum of 75% of their program year on youth funds for OSY. DOL had previously granted TWC a waiver that allowed Texas to reduce the minimum expenditure rate to 60%. That waiver expired at the end of program year 20. So now the minimum of 75% must be expended on OSY. For your administrative costs, those are limited to 10% of your local youth funds, but they are not subject to the 75% minimum OSY expenditure. Some information I was provided that may be useful to boards. For program year 21, as of February 2022, the statewide OSY expenditure rate was at 83.40%. And it showed that 10 boards had not met the required 75% minimum. The individualized service strategy, this will be developed mostly with the information that you got from your initial assessment. It's going to be information about the youth barriers, community programs that you may have referred them to, their career pathways. That includes the education that they may need, their overall employment goals, industries or careers that they may be interested in. This will show work experiences or training that they may be going into and show an interest or an aptitude for. There's more information about this that can be found in the WIOA guidelines on page 30 and 31. Your ISS is also going to include any follow-up services that you provide your youth once they've completed their program. Incentives can be a great tool to be used to engage and keep your youth involved. Incentives must be provided to or have the youth be told about these at that initial assessment so that they know going in, hey, there's possibly some incentive or money that I can earn if I complete my goals or complete my work experience or my training or receive a credential. This is just a great way to keep your youth involved. And I know that our boards will have more to say on this. There's also on page 40 of the WIOA guide some more information about incentives. The academic and occupational education component in a work experience. This is something that DOL added because they were seeing youth that were just being put in a work experience that may not necessarily coincide with their interests, their overall goal. So under WIOA, a work experience is a planned, structured learning experience that takes place in a workplace for a limited period of time. So it's important to find out what that youth is interested in. It's possible for a board to do several work experiences, maybe for a shorter period of time. That they're interested in, they can go in and get some hands-on work experience and find out if, hey, that's something I'm really interested, or now that I've been in this, I really don't want to stay in. The academic and occupational comes in when they're in a work experience. So you have somebody that's interested in the medical field and you put them in a hospital. The occupational component would be learning about just a well-rounded different types of hospital occupations. So you could be looking at a phlebotomist or radiology tech or physical therapist. Then the academic component would come in when they're looking at being a physical therapist and they're delving deeper into what it is to be a physical therapist. They may need to know the specific bones in the body or the function of a specific ligament. You may have somebody that's interested in being a phlebotomist, and they need to know why blood types matters. This would also be great to find out if they can deal with the sight of blood and not faint. That would be an immediate, not the career for them. I also just want to remind everyone that a work experience under WIOA is not considered training, which has performance implications for the credential and measurable skills gain indicator. Since this is not a training, those would not trigger, a work experience will not trigger inclusion of these two indicators. So that's something to keep in mind. Work experience is just that. It's a work experience for the youth to understand and delve deeper into an interest they might have ongoing for their full-time career. And then my last slide are just resources. I've added some Teagles with the information that they'll provide. There's the link to the youth program matrix, the WIOA guide, and the WIOA doc log. So that completes my presentation. I will not stop for questions now so that our two boards have plenty of time to make their presentations. Please continue to enter your questions in the chat, and we're going to attempt to provide responses to any questions at the end of both boards' presentations. We have policy is also online to be able to answer any questions that they may need to respond to. So we're going to get started with Tarrant County. And their presentation is being presented by Tabitha Smith-Moore, Nancy Serta, and Mark Thompson. Following Tarrant County, Texoma will present their presentation, and they will be presented by, by Marsha Lindsay and Deborah Henley. So without further ado, Tarrant County, take it away.
Good afternoon. I'm Tabitha Smith-Moore, the Programs Oversight Unit Director with Workforce Solutions for Tarrant County. Nancy is on, and Nancy is going to start first, and she's going to tell you about our recruitment efforts and our E3 model.
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Serta-Hernandez. I'm the Young Adult Program Manager for Tarrant. I will be talking about our recruitment efforts with, do you have the slide? There you go. With our community partners, right now, two of the major partnerships that we have built was with Truancy Court here at Tarrant County. What we do is we go in Truancy Court once a week and meet with young adults that are either being court out of the school system with court order, or trying to find employment to kind of stay within the schools and not drop out if they're in junior or senior years and they just need assistance with employment or to help family in order to stay engaged in school. We come out there to do our presentation, and if they are court ordered to leave high school in the actual ISD, we try to connect them with AEL or any other agencies that we work with for high school. Can you guys hear me? I'm getting a lot of messages. Sorry.
I can, Nancy.
If everybody can mute except the presenter, that would help because you are coming in and out, Nancy.
Let me know if you guys have any other issues. I'll try to move around. The next agency we work with is Texas Juvenile Justice System, and this partnership has grown to be very, very strong. And we were able to build this pipeline as we met with a lot of probation officers that were meeting with young adults that were coming out of the prison or jail and in a halfway house, and they were not Tarrant County residents. So the way we were able to strengthen this partnership is we had a lot of young adults that were not in Tarrant County, that lived in the Alamo area, that lived in different cities in Texas. So what we did is we were still able to go out and do orientations and of course serve our Tarrant County residents, but also any young adults that were not from Tarrant County. We were able to connect them with somebody in their board area.
Nancy, you cut out. So I think what she was saying was with this partnership, we're able to not only serve Tarrant County residents, but get them connected to the workforce centers in the area in which they are relocating to. So that's our relationships with the Texas juvenile justice system. Just a second. I apologize. Okay. Another way that we recruit here in Tarrant County is we work with our student hireability navigators. Our navigators are going into the schools and they are meeting with the transitional specialists. And so we're attending those meetings to not only talk about services to students with disabilities, but we're also talking about services that our WIOA youth program provide, because we know that those students will be transitioning out of high school and they need those transition services. We also provide quarterly information sessions for our school counselors through our partnership with the Student Hireability Navigator. We also have a strong partnership with our charter schools. And so in our charter schools, what happens is we partner with Texas Can Academy, and we go in and we provide enrollment. We do enrollment on site there. We provide job readiness services and barrier removal services as well. And we do everything on site there at the charter schools, because we know that a lot of those young adults either don't have transportation, the parents don't have transportation, and it's just easier to get that capture our audience there at the charter schools. And over this last couple of months, we've also done a process to where we went in and we have rebranded our youth program. So our youth program is the Rise Up, and under Rise Up, we have the E3 model. The E3 model stands for Empower, Educate, and Employ. Empowering the youth to engage them, to identify any barriers that are preventing them from moving forward. This step is very important. By working together with the young adults and assisting them to move forward in the development phase. So some examples of those elements is adult mentoring, support services, and comprehensive guiding and counseling. Another part of our E3 model is the Educate. This phase engages the youth with the ideas of career pathways and can assist with training and credentials to ensure a successful transition into employment. Some of the examples for this element is entrepreneurial skills, occupational skills training, and post-secondary preparation and transition activities. And then we have our Employ. Employment phase focuses on employment within their career pathways as defined by the youth choice and based on evidence from career and vocational assessments. We know that the assessment phase of this program is very important, because we don't want to place students blind or work with customers and place them in something that we think that they should be in. So we definitely utilize our assessments. So some of the services and elements used in the employee phase is LMI information, paid and unpaid work experience, internship, apprenticeship, customized job development, and employment. So those are some of the strategies and some of our marketing materials that we use when we try to get young adults and our partners interested in the WIA youth program. So here in Tarrant County, we know the importance of collaboration. Collaboration when working with the young adults is a win for everyone. Why is it needed? Everyone working towards the same goals and performance, increase resources for both participants and programs. The need for services increase each year, and it allows us to stretch our funding. Here in Tarrant County, we don't believe that there's a wrong door approach. And so we equipped our community with the ability to make referrals inside of our system. One of the things, maybe right before COVID, we did a human-centered design. And one of the things that, one of the ideas, or one of the issues that kept coming up is, well, we refer people into your system, but we don't never know what happened to them or if they even got enrolled and things like that. And so what happened was we built into our website a way that our partners can make referrals and we can track those referrals. Can you see our website? If I can just
Yes.
get, okay. And so with this website, when we go out to meet with our partners, we're educating them on how they can refer into our system and letting them know that once you refer into our system, someone is going to contact you on what's happening with your student or your young adult that you referred. And so what they do is they fill out this referral form, and I'm just going to put some information in. They fill this referral form in, they put their phone number, and then we ask, is this customer between the ages of 16 and 24? They press yes. So when we get to the next page, it says invalid. So I'm gonna put a correct phone number in. So what happens is, once this information is submitted, now the agency that made their referral, they can put their contact information in. So what this does is this allows us, once we've made contact with the young adult, then we can in turn contact the agency that referred them to our program and let them know, hey, we made contact with the young adult and he or she is enrolled in our program, and these are some of the things that we are doing with them. In our program, like I said, partnership is important. And like I said, there's no wrong door to getting enrolled in our program. And so within the last 2 years, or 3 years, maybe longer, we've developed some co-enrollment models. And with the co-enrollment models is we've used adult education and learning and the WIOA program, specifically our WIOA youth program, to pilot these models. What this, how do we make this work? We do one orientation process. We do a dual requirement eligibility form, certified WIOA application. We've merged that with our AEL enrollment form. We use one DocuSign packet because we know that lately we've been operating in a virtual space. We have one common file folder, and we share the service plan, and we share the AEL goal setting ITEC. So we know that, anytime a young adult, usually what turns our young adults off from any program is the paperwork. We have too many hurdles. We have too many appointments. We tell them to come back for this and to come back for that. So with this co-enrollment model, we've minimized those hurdles. We've done co-location, co-case management. We share basic skills assessments. We share the needs needs assessments and barrier removals. And I just want to show you that all the resources that our customers need, we try to make it easy too. We put it on our website, so when they come in, I'm not sure if you saw, but now chatting, that box came up that they can chat. They know where our workforce centers are. They know how to come in and get to job searching. We can tell them about career training. They have information about education and learning and childcare. So we know that it's important for them to have all the resources they need at their fingertips, like I said, as well as training our community to know that any information you need is at our website, and we have different entry points, different ways that you can gain entry point into our system. So one of the examples of our co-enrollment model is our adult vocational education academy. Remember, I told you we share this model with AEL. And so we have a WIOA counselor, an AEL navigator, all housed in one place. So with this model, what happens is, so AEL came to us because they had a problem with, they didn't have staff that was available for case management. Guess what? WIOA provides case management. They had measurable skills gains. Workforce has measurable skills gain. They had clients that need to get training. We had clients that need to get training. They had clients that needed support services, but they couldn't provide those support services. Guess who is able to provide those support services? We are. So we created this model. So with this model, what happens is anyone that's interested in our adult vocational academy model, we do some of the requirements that's required of the AEL program, like the transitions class. So they go through 2 weeks of transitions class. And usually what happens in that transition phase, people that was referred from the workforce side, we already have made them eligible on the workforce side. So then AEL has their eligibility. So those that wasn't already a part of AEL, we share our pre-app, but our certified WIOA application with the AEL partner. So they make them eligible. So also while they're making them eligible, we go through resume preparation, everything that they have to do with those transitions classes on the AEL side. So once they're done, and we do this in cohorts. And so right now, this month, we're currently in our IT cohort. So anyone that doesn't have a high school diploma or GED, or someone that does, but that's enrolled in AEL, but that is interested in ITA, they were able to participate in this cohort. And so any of our young adults move in cohorts. So starting at the end of May, we'll start our medical cohort. So what happens once this young adult, so this person is getting case management, they're getting support services, they're getting training, they are being co-case managed by AEL staff and a WIOA case manager. And at the end, everyone wins because we're all hitting our measures. Another example, so braiding funding. So the average cost per student when we braid the fund is $3,700. That's a small amount to pay for a large outcome. So the training cost is divided between WIOA funding and the AEL funding. Another example of our collaboration is, so we know that we have that stipulation where you have to spend 20% of your WIOA funds on work experience. And so in the beginning, I know we were all struggling to do that. And we know with young adults, putting them in an activity and trying to retain them is sometimes a little hard to do. And so what we did was, again, that partnership with adult education and learning. So we already have a young adult that has dropped out of school. And most of the times when young adults drop out of school, they're dropping out of school because they need to go to work to support their families. So we're asking a dropout to re-enroll in school when they need to go to work. Really didn't make sense, right? So then we were like, okay, let's try this model. So what we did was we paired education with employment. And so what happens is the young adult participate in their GED classes for 3 hours of the day. The other 3 hours of the day, or the rest of the day, they participate in work experience. But the beauty of this collaboration, everything happens in one place. And we know that that's not always a valuable outcome, but we had the partnership and we had the collaboration here in Tarrant County where this relationship has been very successful. And so guess what? We've had a large number of students to actually graduate with their high school diploma and gain work experience at the same time. Some of the work experience that they're gaining is in e-commerce, warehouse logistics, IT, and retail. So anyone that knows the Goodwill model knows that in their model, in their warehouse, that students and anybody can learn and can get those work experience opportunities. Why this was important, again, like I said, you have a dropout and you tell a dropout, well, in order for you to be successful, we're going to need you to get that GED. Remember, they just dropped out of high school because they needed to possibly support themselves. They might have been on the verge of homeless. They might have had children. They needed to work. And so to them at the moment, education wasn't important, but that employment was. So in order for us to get them interested in education, we had to have that carrot, and that carrot was the work experience. So we've paired those two together and we've created a successful program. And so those are just two examples of why collaboration works. And so with our E-squared model, it helps with the retention. It helps to have, and with our AEL, adult vocational academy model, it helps with the retention as well, because you don't only have one case manager. Now you have two people that's trying to make sure that this person becomes successful. And we know a lot of times the youth, they might not communicate with the WIOA case manager, but they will communicate with the person who referred them into the system. So when they get lost, guess what? We have a record now on who referred them into the system. We can call that person and say, hey, I haven't seen Sarah this week. Can you tell me what's going on? And a lot of times we find out the information we need to get that customer re-engaged. We might also find out some things that that could help us with exiting the student from the program, because we might find out that, oh, well, this person has been incarcerated for the last 90 days. Guess what? That's an exclusion, right? Or guess what? This person found out they had some medical issues, but they know, because they don't have that relationship with the WIOA case manager, they didn't tell us that, but they told the partner that referred them into the system. So that's why the collaboration, the co-enrollment, the partnerships, they work and they really help. And so those are just two of the partnerships that we have in place for our young adults that has proven to be successful here in Tarrant. We're not saying that we have a perfect program, because we're still trying to solve our issues with transportation, and we like all the boards are trying to figure out where are our young adults. But when our young adults get into our system, we have a system in place that can track them, that can provide them the services that they need, and we can help move them towards self-sufficiency or post-secondary education. I think I'm gonna stop there. I'm not sure if Mark is on.
I am, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So awesome, y'all. If you want to progress the slides, Tabitha, I don't know if you have the control on that, but some of the unique opportunities that we created were really at a result of necessity for some of our partners. The city of Arlington, for example, in their water department had an aging workforce. So folks that were on average nearly 50 years old, that are retiring, that are needing less hours, and that was leaving a giant talent pool gap. And so that necessity kind of connected us with ACH, which is one of our foster partners, and they had kind of a similar situation, right? They have a group of young adults that are fostering, or pardon me, that are aging out, and they're going to need kind of the assistance to ensure that, that next step out is not a 10-foot drop, but a very controlled, guided, soft landing. So as we are working with ACH in connecting the clients, we're actually able to support the young adults in getting their basics, their job readiness training, putting them into work experience that allow for, yeah, I know, so I apologize, Tabitha, to allow for a mentorship, right? So the city of Arlington has been wonderful with the way they're helping us connect with their managers. Our clients are going in, they're being coached, they're being given second chances, they're being understanding that our clients have scarcity mindsets, and they are making sure that the folks are giving the young adults a second opportunity, because they're going to run into things. You know, they are not your typical 18, 19, 24-year-old, right? They are folks that are going through some real tough times. They've been in the system probably all their life, some of them. But in this situation, they're coming in and they are getting food, shelter, transportation. We're helping them with clothing to make sure that they're able to transition to business attire. We're helping them with also their transportation, ensuring that they can get to work. Then as they are going, you hit the next slide, Tabitha. As they are going to the level 2, we're looking at the paid internships to mentor and facilitate the work population. I kind of mentioned that. They're assessing their developmental needs. I was chatting on that. You know, what do they need to be successful? And then level 3 really is working on their career pathway. So all of our young adults who go to the city of Arlington are going to get a Class C, some of them a Class D water license, because as they're going into the city, they're being touched in multiple locations within the paid internship, and it's allowing them to kind of get experience in wastewater, meter reader, multiple locations to see where they flourish. Combining that with the coaching and mentorship from the staff, along with the support services of our career advisor, it's made for a really successful opportunity. If you can hit that next one, please. And this is kind of, it leads me to the results. So we've had since 2020, and this is during the pandemic as well, right? 25 paid internships. They've worked over 10,000 hours, $146,000 in saved labor costs. The areas of work has been office admin, meter reader, field operations, water dispatch, wastewater, over 18 full-time employment, 18 clients offered full-time employment at the end of their paid internship, and they've taken it. Currently, there are 11. The great thing about those, the majority of those 7 folks that have moved on, they've moved on to other successful things, right? They've gone to other cities that might be closer. They've taken their water license and jumped into the private side. So the clients that are going there are making those advancements, and the city has been a great collaboration. Another unique opportunity that we've had, and the idea really is with recruitment, is having multiple pipelines into unique activity. The automotive pre-apprenticeship. Again, this is need-based, right? We know auto dealers right now have a giant need for mechanics, ASE certified mechanics. The 10-year outlook for a mechanic is about $62,000 a year. We have kids every day graduating from ISDs with CTE backgrounds in welding, in collision, in automotive, and in mechanics. So our goal was to work with North Texas Auto Association, and we created a pipeline into the dealerships from the graduating classes of the CTE schools. We'd place them with a company, a dealership, for 12 weeks where they were working live, getting paid, right? Subsidized employment with the employer, getting that experience on the job, building those important relationships with the employer. After that 12 weeks, we took those young adults and we put them at TCC where they could further their education, with the sole idea of now they have more advanced certifications, we can cycle them back into that dealership. And actually, in 2 cases, they stayed working, cycled back into that dealership at a higher rate. So right now they may be making $12 or $13 an hour as a paid intern. We pay for their certifications at TCC, a community college, with greater ASE mechanic advancement. Then all of a sudden they're more valuable they already have that relationship in that pipeline, and they come back and they have the possibility to be making closer to $15, $16, $17 an hour. And as they advance, they'll continue to grow that. So again, in 2021, with our first cohort, we're currently recruiting now. We had 4 students from Crowley ISD, Birdville ISD, Arlington ISD. All 4 completed their paid internships, offered employment at the dealerships that they had their paid internships, right? So we're creating that pipeline, we're creating those relationships. That way they can do paid internship, go into training, then cycle back in at higher rates. And right now, we're currently recruiting. We're hitting all of our friends at Crowley, Birdville, Arlington, and getting the word about this program in the hopes that we grow it, because we know it's been very successful that first year. For those 4, maybe we get 15, maybe we get 16 this year, and we really create those career pathways. Next, perfect. And again, and I don't want to be repetitive, but it is pipeline. So we talked about people interested in working for the city government, folks that are interested in automotive programs. Now, folks that might be interested in culinary work, right? So we actually partnered with Tarrant Area Food Bank and with Taste Community Restaurant. We created, and Tabitha and Brenda at the board gave us this special permission to create a 16-week long paid internship. The first 8 weeks, they're at Tarrant Area Food Bank at their kitchen. They're learning knife skills, resume. They're learning all the basic things for getting their culinary fundamental certification, which they'll test for in that phase 1 at Tarrant Area Food Bank, that first 8 weeks. And while they're there, again, with our support services, our case management, all those programs that we're chatting about all have that baseline level of support service and taking care of our customers. But while they're at Tarrant Area Food Bank for the first 8 weeks, they're learning all the basics. They're getting excited about what they're doing. They get to test for a certification, culinary fundamental certification. And the cool thing is, as they transition to phase 2, they're working in a live kitchen. So all those learning moments they had, that culinary fundamentals, and you can hit the next slide, Tabitha. And I'm assuming it's with Tabitha, it may not be Tabitha, but the next slide would be perfect. So as they're going to phase 2, they're able to put all that work to test, right? They're working in a live kitchen. Taste Community Restaurant is a really well-known, pay what you can afford restaurant. It's fine dining level. So they are working on a professional line. They're being treated as professional prep cooks. So they have the ability to really know what it looks like to work at a professional kitchen, because that's where we're putting them. The really highlight of phase 2 is the Spotlight Dinner. It's a special event where they close down the restaurant. They invite all of their partners, so restaurateurs, large hotels, catering companies, and the participants actually get to create their own tasting menus. So our customer would be able to go out, hand deliver his menu or her menu to each table, introduce themselves, talk a little bit about the menu. And that really acts as that first interview where they're getting to know their future employers. And the future employer gets to know, hey, who cooked this food? This was an awesome dish. This was going to be a really great chef. And we're kind of connecting the trainee, our customer, with their future employers in a very unique way. And it's been a really powerful event. The next slide will kind of show some of the results. So we have 6 completed cohorts. Currently, we have cohort 7 in phase 1, and we're about to transition to phase 2. So that means we're recruiting for cohort 8. Our program has been over a year old at this point, 92% placement rate, $15.75 average wage. We have had 127 total applicants, 47 selected to participate, and then 25 graduates out of that. So it's been a really successful program, and it's been a great collaboration with Tarrant Area Food Bank, which is a large local food bank, Taste Community Restaurant, which is a very well-known restaurant. And what we're doing is we're finding young adults that are interested in culinary, recruiting them in, getting them into this program, and then providing the support they need to finish, and they're transitioning into employment. And there's a gigantic need right now for culinary, for prep cooks and sous chefs. And that's it for our slides there.
Do we want to do questions at the end, Margaret?
Yes, Tabitha, if we've got time.
Yes. Oh,
Questions,
sorry.
and
Okay,
we want to allow time for Texoma to present now.
okay. Do you want me to stop sharing, Marcia, so you can share? Do you want me to work the slides?
Deborah? Are you there?
I am here, yes.
Do you want Tabitha to work the slides for you?
No, I can handle it.
Okay, she can take care of it. Tabitha, Nancy, and Mark, I'd just like to say you guys have some great programs, great ideas, and it's obvious you know your audience very well, working with youth and what they need. It was wonderful to hear your information. Here in Texoma, as you guys know, we are a lot smaller than Tarrant County is, with a lot fewer resources. So we are really lucky to have Deborah Henley working with our out-of-school youth program. Deborah runs all of our workforce centers and is very tenured and experienced in working with youth. Deborah, you want to go ahead and bring up the slides and share some of your information with us?
I was hoping you could already see them. Am I not sharing my screen?
No, cannot hear. No, I don't see the slides.
Oh, I see. So what about now?
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
great. Thank you, Marcia. So the Texoma program, we have a very small program, as Marcia mentioned. The budget's typically around 250 to 280 thousand. The youth program has one case manager, but they do have support in data entry in Twist. So the case manager handles the caseload, handles case noting and working with the customer. And then there's somebody else providing the service activities in Twist. Last year we served 56 youth. One of them was an in-school youth, the rest are out-of-school youth, and that's our primary population that we target for enrollment. Service strategies, these are typical service strategies that we offer. There may be some one-off services, but this is primary year-round work experience, GED, and training services. Oops. So as far as recruitment and outreach, we do rely on our community partners for referrals, on external referrals. So we have great working relationships with our AEL, with the school counselors, probation, parole, our homeless shelters in the area, and the Council of Governments, pregnancy centers, the city, county, and court systems. We have worked closely with court systems in the past, and I will say that court order GED is something that they do, but the customer is not always the easiest to work with. So I'll just throw that out there. Internal referrals include our SNAP and Choices program, as well as our childcare program and vocational rehab services. For our programs, we have an online orientation, so it's easy for the customer to just jump on our website and complete the online application or pre-screening application. And then we reach out to the customer immediately to set up an appointment to visit with them on eligibility. So eligibility, we really try to streamline because we know a lot of our youth, as well as some of our other customers, do not have the documentation necessary for eligibility. So self-attestation is used quite often for those listed there: school dropout, criminal justice, homeless, disability, aged out foster care. Eligibility challenges are, of course, completing the work authorization form and trying to help the customer get a state ID. And so we do rely on maybe our referral sources, and maybe even if they're receiving SNAP, get them co-enrolled in the SNAP program to pay for it, for an ID to determine eligibility. As far as co-enrollments, not all of our youth are co-enrolled, but some of them are. If they're in the Choices program or SNAP program, vocational rehab, we've certainly worked with them, with customers, and sharing costs as far as in case management of a customer. WIOA adult, we do that for training services at some point, depending on the need and how much money we have in our programs. And then of course, AEL. The ISS development is really where we start to work with the youth on career planning. We use Tradeify to help identify a career pathway. We're really work with them to try to work out a 5-year plan on what their long-term goals are. And I know some of our youth, it's hard for them to even envision what a long-term plan is for them, but they really focus on, let's work on what you like to do. And then we, of course, identify issues such as transportation or housing or childcare and try to address those needs in that ISS development. And here's some screenshots from the ISS development, some questions that we're asking the youth, and really get into engaged in conversation as far as, you know, what they like to do, elaborate on the Tradeify results, and then talk about from their career goals. We also focus on their support system and who in their household or who among their friends is supportive of what they do, and then who is not, and then who they can rely on for assistance. And this is where we also go into further detail about transportation, what their transportation availability is, what their backup plan is, if they have children, who's going to care for their children, if they're using a childcare provider, if the child's sick, what's the backup plan. So they work out all those details before the customer gets engaged into actual services. So youth services GED, you know, we co-enroll with AEL. It's typically coupled with work experience, the year-round work experience. Support services are provided, transportation, childcare, and so forth. And then, of course, funding for GED testing. For work experience, we provide up to 400 hours of paid work experience for our youth. We actually match them through Work in Texas based on their career path that they have determined. And then we build their Work in Texas, and then from there we match with employers. And then business services will contact the employer to work out a work site agreement and then potential work placement if they're interested. And then we also, they have to be willing to mentor the youth because we're asking for them to basically have grace with some of our youth as far as following instruction and working on timeliness and so forth. And you know all the challenges with some of our youth on dependability. So working with our work sites and making sure that they understand that. We also start them at the wage in which the position is open in Work in Texas. So it's important that the youth feel like they're actually earning a wage when they're actually working a paid work experience. And then prior to actual starting at the work site, they go through 20 hours of paid work readiness or pre-employment at our workforce centers. And here's an outline of what that looks like. So on Monday, they would report at 9 o'clock, clock in, and they would go through the actual curriculum on financial literacy, as well as the modules through Conover that we use as well. And so each day they're reporting. We're also making sure, because we use staffing services, that the staffing service has the proper direct deposit information or payment information so the youth can get paid, and working out all those details before they're actually placed at the work site. And then for training services, the youth may also use training services before or after work experience. And sometimes it's standalone, but we use our target occupation list. We utilize training programs on the ETP. We assist youth in completing their FAFSA, as well as the same process for our ITAs for our adult and dislocated worker programs. As far as incentives are concerned, this is our incentive structure. So attainment of goals, attainment of high school diploma, GED. This is how they are paid out, certificates, associate programs, and so forth. For completion and retention, I know that was a discussion as far as how do we keep youth engaged into the program. Youth are encouraged and lay out expectations at the beginning. So the caseworker really works with them, establishing a rapport with them, and then tries to lay out the expectations of the program and getting them on board. Sometimes we see grandparents bringing youth in and saying this person needs services, and it's really more the grandparent that's wanting it than the youth is. So establishing all that up front is important to make sure that everyone understands And the youth is the one that's actually wanting to make a difference in their own lives. And we identify and address all the barriers early in the process. We get into the details as far as what, if they have a criminal background issue, what's outstanding, what is currently pending, and what needs to be addressed, and all of that as well. And then, as I mentioned, we identify the support network and get them involved in the process. We need support for that youth outside of the office. Staff, our one case manager has a cell phone, and the youth actually can text them on the cell phone and provide information back and forth on communication. It seems like you can text a youth and they'll respond, but if you call, they won't answer the phone. So it's important that we have access to that. And then also through social media, we're able to find some youth that may disappear through social media a lot easier in a lot of the other applications like Facebook and Instagram is good resource to be able to find a local youth. So, and that is very quickly a synopsis of our youth program. One thing on outreach that I failed to include in the presentation was we just started using Work in Texas and identifying through the characteristics 18 to 24-year-olds, getting the extract, and then we have a program at Toto that we can text, do a group text to that population and then invite them for services. And we've gotten a pretty good response out of that. And that was a good outreach method.
Thank you, Deborah. I just want to say real quickly, and I'm not going to show it on the screen, but we do have a youth resources section on our website. You all are welcome to take a look at. We try to put a lot of our videos on there, self-help videos like what skills employers are looking for, career planning in English and Spanish, those types of things. And then we go on down to talk about, work experience opportunities, how to select the right career, identifying training that's right for you, those types of things. So we do have that, and we do also advertise on social media for recruitment, that type of thing. I'm sure you all have all that also. Ellen, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Deborah and Marcia. This was great. I got some really good ideas, and I'm hoping that the boards, other boards also got some great ideas. I think both of y'all have really good, strong programs, and I think there's a lot that our other boards can take away from this and hopefully be able to implement or in some way or another. The last screen, and again, we will send out all of these presentations and the Q&A document once that's been put together. I think, well, no, it's 2:00, so we don't have time for questions. I answered a few in the chat, but we will go through and take out all the questions. Be sure and enter your email address if you want to get these. We'll send them out to all of our board contacts. But I saw a couple of names of people that were from some colleges and different areas. So please be sure and give us your contact information. Again, I want to thank everyone for all their hard work on this. The last slide on Tarrant and Texoma's has everyone's name and their email address. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I would think that any one of them would be able to answer any questions you have about the programs that they've implemented and want to provide you with anything that you need. Thank you all again for your hard work on this and providing all your great information. I think it's wonderful. I'm really excited about all the things that both Tarrant and Texoma have put together for their youth. They're really, it shows that they're very caring about their youth and handling them with kid gloves, but also with stern mom vibes, which is what most of them need. So thank you. If our presenters have anything else to say, the floor is open to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Well, since it's 2:02, exactly an hour from when we started, we will put together the Q&A and we'll send out all of these presentations to everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you again soon. Thank you all.
Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you, Marcia.